Alright guys, so SitRep, the next 3 runners in the schedule are all offline, so I'm doing this game. It's Thief 2. There's not really any shooting in it, but I guess it has shooting if you count, you know, medieval 12th century era archery shooting. So game starts when I hit continue. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this game has a lot of really interesting
Better check
tricks.
my map.
It's not nearly as broken as the original Thief.
This must be the door Basso mentioned.
The developers actually recognized and fixed a lot of the problems with this game.
Stop and check out that light around the corner.
So a
Another
lot of
guard up
the
ahead.
movement
Time to knock him
and
out while his back is turned.
tech in this game has less to do with exploiting bugs and more with really clever
Wow, that's her
exploitations
door.
of the mechanics of the
Yes,
game.
Basso can open it.
So right here,
Not
we're
much of a
supposed to
sneak, but he
clear
can
out
sure handle
this
it.
this little area, this little basement area, and have our friend Basso come and rescue Genevieve. And he's trying to elope
This
with her,
hallway is too well
but
lit.
instead we just
Gotta put a
alert
water barrel
Genevieve
under
by
that
throwing a
torch.
key at her door. And because her AI is so simple that it only has a single script, when she's alerted, she'll just run straight for the exit. And she wasn't actually locked in the door that she was locked in. She had the key the whole time. She just needed a little persuasion before she left. And there's a lot of that like this in this game, where there's these interesting tricks that are only used once in each level. I'm also running this on the original engine of the game, which, among other things, really hates multi-threading. If you run it on more than one core, the game will just instantly crash. And there's a lot of other issues with it too. First off being the movement. Smooth movement in the original engine is nearly impossible. The code that controls how you're able to climb up onto things is ridiculously bad for a game that puts so much emphasis on being able to freely move around. And here's another glitch right here. We're able to actually use the lock on, or use the key on the lock through the wall. Because the objects in this game actually have a physical presence when they're in your inventory, and you're able to use keys straight through the wall. Because the object itself is actually floating in space somewhere in front of you.
Don't try to run, Tapper! Just surrender!
And, so in this mission, we're basically just trying to, get some money, so the character Garrett can pay his rent. That's literally the whole mission. The levels in Thief 2 are a lot less linear than in Thief 1, and that makes the routing a whole lot different. Primarily, the way that we routed this game was mapping out where all of the loot was to complete the mandatory loot objectives, and then
This
repeat
place
that
looks
door
like an
again.
inventor's shop. There's probably a valuable gadget or two around here.
And here, luckily the climbing didn't give me much issue. So there is a fade out at the end of every mission, and if you kill yourself at the end, or an enemy kills you, you can actually skip that fade out, which is interesting. So I'm gonna try to do this trick. I actually need to restart. Because objects in this game in your inventory have a physical presence, like I mentioned before, you can actually drop items in such a way.
Better check my map.
Like I'm about to drop this scouting orb in such a way that it actually gets stuck inside of my body because it landed on the other scouting orb in my inventory. And now I'm just completely out of bounds, and I'm able to jump around up here. Oh, and some crazy stuff's happening. Whoa, whoa, hang on. Whoa, what's happening? Okay. I've never seen that before, I'll be honest. I'm gonna save before I do this jump because it's a little tricky. That's why I saved. Basically what you're doing here is you are jumping and then timing the use of a slow fall potion so that you fly through the air. And the timing is really close. Oh, and I didn't get it. This skips having to do a really long underwater segment, there we go, where you're literally just swimming through a sewer for about a minute and a half. So, well worth it to try this for a few attempts. Oh, I didn't show off the dancing zombies. Yeah, Albert, you're right. You know what? That was a big mistake. But you know what? I haven't done a marathon run of this in a while, so I was using the actual strategies that you use. My bad. I will, if I can, and we still have time, after the run, I will show you guys the dancing zombies. One of the very few Easter eggs in this game. Yeah. Yeah, well, it would have been spoiled anyway, so... One interesting thing about this game, like I said, I am running it on the old version of this engine, the very same engine that the game was shipped with, and because of that, there's a lot of interesting glitches that you can do in this one that you can't do in the new version, but despite that, despite the fact that this version has a lot more glitches, it's actually a lot slower, solely because you lose the ability to mantle and climb up in a lot of places that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So, hopefully I'll try to show off some of the old engine-specific glitches. The reason why I'm playing this on the old engine is because recently the Windows 10 update somehow allowed this game to play perfectly. We're supposed to leave this police station, but you can just walk up to the door and the trigger extends just a little bit too far. So you don't actually have to open that door before you leave. If you look at older runs of this game, they always used to open that gate. But it's totally unnecessary.
What's going on? The city watch are all over the place.
Touch that door, and the mission will end. And I also clipped straight through the fence, which is something you can do. That fence is very impermanent.
What's a big fella like you doing out here at night?
So this mission is called Ambush. Garrett is running away from policemen who want him dead and have no interest in taking him in alive. And you don't have a shop menu at the beginning of this mission. You may have noticed I actually took some loot in the vault in the previous mission. And that is so I can afford a speed potion on the next mission. But in order to do that, I need to pick up a purse that's actually inside of Garrett's apartment, which we're about to access.
Remember, men? His name
you may
is
notice
Garrett.
a lot of very strange graphical glitches in this game.
It's
because this game was extremely rushed.
The sheriff won with a common thief. Why all the extra
there was only about a little over a year between when Thief 1 was released and Thief 2 was released. And they were on such a tight time scale to finish this game. That a lot of the game is just completely unfinished. As you'll see, we are completely out of bounds right now. There are no sounds anywhere on anything that we can touch, because they just didn't bother to add sound brushes outside of the levels, even though you can easily just go anywhere you want. And I just realized I'm doing a skip, which I'm not even sure is possible on the old version of the engine, but we're gonna try it anyway. And if not, I guess I'll just go back inbounds and do this mission the normal way. I almost never play the original version, so I guess it's not possible. So we're gonna have to retrace our steps a little bit. Luckily, we can just walk around here. I'm pretty sure you can get out this way. Let's see. You guys are seeing brand new routing live. Apparently you can't climb up here. That's interesting. Oh, well, there's a door you can just go through. Well, that would have been good to know. So instead, I'm going to actually use my speed potion here. And we're completing this mission the intended way. Boo! And this is a dead end on this mission, so I have to restart the level. Nice. Great. Lower the game sound? Okay, 1 sec. Oh yeah, you're right, it was way too high. That's because I just reinstalled this game. Luckily, this mission only takes like 2 minutes, so.
What's going on? The city watch are all
It's not like having to redo some of the, redo some of the later missions that take like 11 minutes.
What's a big fella like you doing out here?
But yeah, that's just due to my oh, and we're stuck. Okay, that would have been bad if I didn't catch myself there, but gives us more time to enjoy this game's incredible voice acting and atmosphere, as the back of the box says.
Hey, you!
Hey, you, charge!
Show yourself and report.
One interesting mechanical thing about this game, you'll notice that I'm strafe running. Like most 3D games of this era, strafe running is faster than running in a straight line. That's because the game actually sums your sideways vector and your forward vector.
Remember, men? His name
which
Garrett.
is
Consider
something
him
they've
armed
figured
and
out
dangerous.
not to do later
Sheriff
on.
wants him brought in, dead or
I have to
alive.
get to my stash.
But for the time being, that's what we deal with.
Intruders inside the car.
You don't have kangaroo jumping, or as it's now more popularly known, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be going the intended way. See, this is why you don't do routes that you've done one time ever on a marathon. Instead, we get to run through the town like this. But this game has no bunny hopping at all, which makes it significantly slower. On top of that, a lot of the physics bugs were fixed.
Where is a Sheriff Gorman shirt?
Most notably, being able to fling yourself completely out of the level. You can't do that in this game, as far as we know. Although there are people who play this game a lot who are trying to figure out exactly how we can do
There's a
that.
thief lurking about.
Recently, it was discovered that if walls are thin enough, you can actually clip through them. And the way that you do that is by using the climb up command, as if you're climbing up on a ledge while facing down. So basically, you climb up from the bottom of a wall, and somehow that allows you to unlock it. Did I not get the key? Okay, well, let's just pretend that we completed this mission. Fix it. I did turn it down. They might need to turn it down in the stream itself. Or in the OBS settings. Because I actually can't alt-tab out of this game, because it's one of those super old games. If I alt-tab out of it, it'll break the capture, so I can't do that.
Not disturb them. You can hear the meeting just fine from out here.
Low FPS. That's not on my end, I don't think. But yes, I see it. It is very, very slow. Shots fired. So now's the best part about speedrunning this game. This is a 5-minute, 30-second unskippable dialogue. And this is also a good time to mention that I have a $100 bounty out on skipping this cutscene legitimately. So if you find a way to skip this cutscene, there is money in it for you. However, I don't trust that you'll have very much luck, because it's one of the best programmed things that I've ever seen in any game ever to prevent you from skipping this cutscene. And there's our character, yay! You can look at yourself with the scouting orb. But yeah, basically, you'd think, oh well, I can skip part of this conversation and just run around and complete all the other objectives. Well, it doesn't work that way. Basically, if you can see the outlines of this little area that we're in, where there are doorways, those are kill lines. So if you pass those, the mission fails. If you are away from this door whenever a soundbite starts, you fail. If you, for any reason, miss any whole chunk of the conversation, you fail. And if this mission weren't already amazing enough, at the end of the conversation, notably at the end, they tell you about a key which is required to complete the mission, and this key can be in any of 10 random locations, which can lose you up to 2 minutes in-game if you get the slowest key. And only one key is actually viable for getting a world record.
My word!
So, yeah, you don't really want to run this game to try and get a serious time. I'll try and see if I can do anything about the frame rate. I don't think it's me, though. It's probably my connection to Mixer. If you want, this is a good time to stop the stream and switch servers. I think I might do that just out of safety, because the Mixer servers have been quite bad.
Of course, you'll keep these servants
Or we can just keep
Away
going
from me and
and
my
hope it
men.
gets better. It seems fine to me from what I can see.
We are in agreement. You need subjects for your servant project.
And I...
Yeah, but no, let's be honest. This is not like, if you...
Prostitute.
The ironic thing is that Thief 1 was the better speedrun, for sure, because Thief 2 has this really long section of doing absolutely nothing, and it has this random factor, but it's really only this mission that is bad. Now Thief 2 has so much random stuff going on
I don't trust you, Captain.
that this run is much more consistent and fun, even given that one aspect of randomness. And I do recommend you learn these games. They are really, really fun. The movement is really fun, and the controls are really tight. They're relatively easy to learn.
Tasks with but one.
And now I gotta actually listen to this guy's conversation to try and figure out where this key is.
Subjects to be transformed into servants, as you heard.
Also, this is a great time to, like, you know,
secured the loyalty of
go to the
wary
bathroom,
Sheriff
get yourself a
Truitt.
cup of tea,
His loyalty.
find glitches. A lot of these games' major glitches have been found during this cutscene of just people messing around with items and
or worse,
doing weird stuff. Like, why can I hit this corner of the doorway and not make a sound? Like, that's just... Why is that something?
Through the air today.
You can also mess up the bitrate and try to crash the stream right here.
And I can supply them. Vagabonds, street scum, prostitutes, those who will not be missed by anyone of consequence.
There you go.
With
That's
his
Robot
voice
Truitt
thus
voice.
preserved, Truitt dare not betray me, or he'll have the scandal he fears so much.
Oh yeah, if you guys haven't played these games
But
casually, they are
I will
tremendous
see to it that
games.
this wax cylinder
Alright, let's see what kind of key we
machine gets
got.
safely to the bank on the morrow. You will find the safety deposit box key in the guards' quarters.
Okay, that's not too bad. I think this is the guards' quarters. I always mix these up. Yeah, so these games are really, really amazing.
Replace this key when I'm done with it.
This game takes about an hour to beat, if you're not really slow like me. But each mission in this game can take like 8 or 9 hours. Like, you can easily spend 100 hours on your first
No big
playthrough of this
secret. The
game.
mechanism for one supplying
And the
Sheriff
final
Truitt
mission in
is that
particular is ludicrously large and much like other things in this game. So annoyingly, we have to get this safety deposit box key to open a bank vault in the next mission. In reality, we don't even need to get this because this game is so broken that you can literally just clip straight through the wall of the bank vault that you need to access and get the thing inside. You don't even need the key at all, but it's required for an objective, so we're required to go get this. So now all we're doing is we're running around and fulfilling the mandatory loot goal, and we're trying to do it in the most stylish way possible, which includes base jumping from the second floor.
By the gears, you will die here. I shall unroot you.
This guy says he will unroot us. If you're a Unix user, you should be terrified by that statement. What is the loot goal? 800. Okay, I'm missing some.
We shall catch thee sooner or later.
Somehow.
Thou art felled, tree.
But I think I know where there is some extra loot to get. One thing about this mission, or this game in general, is that if you don't memorize all of the loot routes through this particular mission, you can get slowed down by a lot just running around. Ooh, that's not good. Just running around looking for loot because of the many different paths through this mission. And I am really low on health. Yeah, there's some frames dropping, but we're gonna have to deal with that. I'm 10 off. That's unfortunate.
Only cowards hide.
Let's hope that there's some loot in here. In reality, if I had gotten this key, I would have just reset the game. There we go, so that's enough.
Here is done.
And now one of these keys should open the front door.
Find thy mark.
There we go. They all look exactly the same, of course. And that's that mission. Yeah, the reason, it's probably a combination of my connection and this game being 20 years old, and also it switches, it will switch the renderer every single time I enter a menu, which is almost the entire run, and that causes frame rate drops in OBS. So it's probably a combination of those things, but I probably could have figured out a way to prevent that if I had more time to set up, but this was a last minute thing, so my apologies. So that showcases another method for skips in this game. You can blow open doors if you have sufficiently powerful explosives. And there's a lot of combinations to do this with. You can use mines, you can use fire arrows, you can throw multiple mines and then set them off with a broadhead arrow. Lots of different ways to do it, but the important thing is that you can blow open pretty much any door. Now, in the unpatched version of this game, you were actually able to blow open the bank vault, which is where we're going now. And they actually patched that because, which I don't know how the developers even found that was possible. But they patched that and kept all the other exploding doors in. So that in itself is interesting, that blowing open doors was an intended mechanic, but not the bank vault. You're not allowed to blow open the bank vault. You gotta go into this basement and do this puzzle.
I have heard.
So yeah, this bank mission is interesting because it's one of the few missions in the game that does not have a loot goal. Like, they give you this opportunity to rob a bank, and it's one of the few missions you can complete with 0 gold. And it's true on all difficulties. Even on expert, you don't need to get any loot for this mission. And it's also a little bit of a tease because you're allowed to go into the bank vault itself, but all of the vaults except for the one that you're supposed to access are locked, and the one that you're supposed to access has nothing of any interest, really. So that was actually fortunate that that camera saw me.
Some people in this city are too
The
rich
cameras,
for their own good.
when they activate the alarm, will close off certain entrances, and when they closed off that entrance behind me, it actually prevented the majority of the guards from following me into the vault, which is going to make my escape significantly simpler. But yeah, the bank vault thing is especially interesting because it's not even a door that opens, it's like a pillar that rises from the ground. So here's our vault, and we don't even need to open it, we just clip straight through it and grab the thing out of there. And so, the game requires you... Ooh, this is gonna be interesting. The game requires you to physically leave the level. Oh, I'm stuck on something. The game requires you to physically exit the bank in order to end the mission. But this dome area counts as being outside of the bank, so we can just climb up to the roof and exit. Okay, so now this mission is interesting. We've taken the recording from that we got from the vault in the last mission, and now we're going to confront the corrupt sheriff with the evidence of his corruption to try and blackmail him into laying off of crime in the city, I guess. I'm not really sure. That plotline doesn't go very far. So now this is an extremely risky part of the run. I'm gonna shoot this door with some arrows, and that's going to alert the guards on the other side. Now what we're hoping happens is the guards will follow a patrol path that results in them opening the gate, or opening... Whoa, what was that boost? I can see them on the other side, and there they go, they open it. So they've just let us in to a place that we were normally not supposed to go to. It is totally random whether or not they decide to open it up. Well, it's not truly random. This game doesn't really have randomness in the traditional sense. If you were to theoretically repeat the exact same actions perfectly every single time, then the guards would do the exact same thing, but just due to human precision and errors creeping into your play, it's not possible to be that precise. So it's more or less random whether they decide to walk in. Oh, the water is invisible. That is interesting. That is a bathtub that's full of water, except it isn't, because the water was invisible. I can honestly say I've never seen that before, but there's a first time for everything.
Hurry! Sound the alarm! Seal off the area!
And we need to knock this guy out, or this lady out.
To check it out, it stopped.
Hey!
I got to, I swear I saw a dark
And
shape
this
running.
civilian
Taking a
might
shot
be an
at him.
issue.
That's when we saw the boss had been killed.
Damn.
But oh no, we're unable to play the recording for plot
I better keep a low
reasons.
profile, or else I'll be pinned
And
as
now
the
we need
killer.
to escape. So this is actually not the fastest way to complete this mission. The fastest way, you actually take a shortcut and climb up to the 3rd floor early without getting that key. Getting that key is the intended way. But you don't need to do that. I didn't do that because I'm not confident with this engine's ability to allow me to do that. Now, the gate was closed at the end. That's also somewhat random. Again, not truly random, but somewhat random for our purposes. It loses about 4 seconds, but it's not a huge deal. So now here's another scintillating speedrunning
Lieutenant
mission
Mosley,
where we
out
have
for
to
a little
follow
stroll.
someone. It's a
See where
tailing
you take
mission.
me.
And it takes about 2.5 minutes for her to get to her destination. On expert difficulty, it takes almost 7. It's not fun, believe me.
These things burn out faster than they used to.
There is tech to this mission, though. Normally she turns around and, like, checks to see if anyone is following her. But if you sufficiently alert her without alerting her enough to follow you,
Can someone help me light
or
this thing?
search for you actively, her AI will just skip the step to turn around and look for you. There's only 2 places where we absolutely need to do that. One of them was right there, and we alert her by using a water arrow. So this guy's coming with us. Actually, I shouldn't do this. This is like a swag strat. So this is another part. For some reason, if you just elevate her off of the ground with this manhole cover, she neither notices nor cares, and she even forgets to stop and turn around and look for you, which is very helpful. So we're just waiting for her to move. There's a very rare glitch, which I've only encountered once or twice, where she'll turn around and start walking back, and that loses like almost a whole minute. And I think it has to do with random variations in her walk path, causing her to miss one of the checkpoints. And so she just goes straight for the checkpoint, and that happens to be behind her. And that would be unfortunate if that happened, but like I say, it's very rare. It's only happened like once. To me, at least. So what's supposed to happen in this mission is Mosley, the lady we're following, she drops her note as like a dead drop, and a pagan is going to come and pick up the note. But we're actually going to go to the end of the mission so fast that the pagan doesn't even have time to leave his starting location. And that can cause an issue because if either Mosley or the pagan see us, it's an instant mission failure. So we do have to be careful, and I have to save quite a bit in this mission. But there's exactly one frame where she'll drop the note, and I'll be able to pick it up right there. And then after she has dropped the note, it's no longer necessary for us to avoid being seen by her. And in fact, we don't even have to drop the letter, even though otherwise that would fail the mission. So I'm hoping this will work. I did a run of this the other day, and it was extremely tricky. So here's the pagan.
That's original.
And this is not working. You have to be able to, like, climb up here and just, I don't know, magically clip through, like, a hidden wall. And we're just gonna keep doing it until I get it, I guess. There we go. So that's an invisible wall that you actually have to clip through.
Out of here after.
And if you don't wait until the very end of the mission, there's no way to actually skip that mission early. Oh, that's interesting. Windows 10 update. We've got an update for you. How about you don't do this during my run? Okay, I can't even click on this. Alright, there we go. Thanks, Windows 10. And it appears now that all water is invisible, not just the water in that one mission. Okay, looks like it's back anyway. That's as long as it's back. Okay, this part can be tricky.
Stop! Take thou no further action.
Comfy run, yeah, that's what I strive for. All my runs should be optimally comfy.
Shadow cast my view.
Okay, we're not going that way. So this part can be tricky.
I'll not be so happy when my
Check thy map, says the NPC.
If someone is there, then show thyself.
Okay, is it... hang on. Is stream working? Okay, it's just running extremely slow. That's not an issue. Frame rate is not my concern. Well, it is my concern. Sorry, guys.
Looks like I'm still on the right track.
Yeah, GKJZF. The guy who was supposed to be playing Wolfenstein was offline, and so was Bolkovich, who was running Devil May Cry 3, and so was the guy after them. So they had 3 runners in a row that were unavailable, so this is a filler run.
looks different.
So what I would normally do here if I was on the new and improved Thief 2 engine is I would use a speed potion, ramp off of the rock, and do an insanely risky jump. But since the mantling in this game is so bad and so imprecise, I'm just not even going to bother, and I'm going to go with the route that was considered state-of-the-art in 2003.
Not your move, you!
That is a humanoid ape with a blowgun. Just thought you guys should know. I also have 2 speed potions, which is way more than I thought I would have at this point. So I guess we might as well use those. Now, if you're using a speed potion and you time it perfectly, you can jump in midair, and since you don't lose any momentum while you're in midair, you can actually prolong the 2x speed boost that the speed potion gives you. Just by a little bit by jumping. That's just a minor movement improvement that you can implement.
No, got me in Summers. Oh, then.
Yeah, it was actually difficult finding a game that was even remotely related to shots fired, but I was considering submitting this.
I hope this guy doesn't run out of
shots
blood.
fired. It didn't pan out because there were enough people that were actually doing shooter-related games. But I guess you could think of this game as like a medieval era shooter. It is a first-person game, and you do shoot arrows, just not very often. And it does have neat movement tech, so I'm glad that I get to show it off. So we find this guy's corpse. Remember that this is the guy we were supposed to be following into the portal to begin with, but instead he just sat in the in the graveyard. So that's a complete sequence break. He never actually did anything to enter the portal. So this is life of the party. This is considered by many to be the best mission in any of the Thief games by a wide margin. Basically, they just give you this big, huge open city with no boundaries. Really.
What the hell is a Taffer, anyway?
Oh, and my Twitch alerts are still on, so you guys get to hear Garrett. That was not actually a sound effect, but I guess I guess that works. Now let's see, am I going to be able to do this? Wow, okay. I impress myself sometimes. That is not supposed to be something you can do in this version of the engine, but okay. As you can see by my inability to climb up a 1-foot obstacle.
Oh.
Ah, yes! I'm glad you guys got to witness that. Okay, that is what's called a sudden heart attack syndrome. That's one of the great things about the old Thief 2 engine, is it can sometimes kill you with no warning.
Looks almost bearable.
Garrett just has a heart attack and dies. It's amazing. Great game, by the way. No sarcasm, it is a great game, but that happens sometimes, so be that as it may, the reason that happens is it's possible in this game to become trapped between 2 or more polygons, and since this game has realistic crush damage, and of course I'm not going to be able to replicate this trick a second time, you can actually get crushed by elevators or anything like that in this game. They'll crush you to death. So what happens is, if you accidentally manage to get yourself jammed in between 2 polygons, the game will think that you're being crushed, and it will just kill you from full HP down to 0 instantly. On things such as those battlements.
What the hell is a Taffer, anyway?
Alright, hang on. I might need to turn off Twitch alerts, but thank you guys for the follows. This is now my personal promotion stream.
What the hell is a Taffer, anyway?
There you go. Maybe I should turn on my Skype too, and you guys can all add me. That'll be perfect.
What the hell is a Taffer anyway?
We're just gonna keep this going, you know? It's already gone far enough. Yeah, Garrett just gets a heart attack and dies.
No need for alarm, ladies. Just
No need
passing
for
through.
alarm, ladies. Just clubbing you on the head with a blunt object, giving you permanent brain damage, and causing you disabilities for the rest of your life. This game's logic is extremely twisted, everyone.
So, that's the castle of the future.
Whenever you
I'll take my
climb
tenement any day of the
a
week.
ladder, it's a harrowing experience
That wasn't so
because
Maybe Tower
ladders are
security
among
isn't
the
as tight
list
as
of
I
things that
thought.
can kill you instantly. The game will think that you're crushed between a ladder and the object that the ladder is attached to, thus killing you immediately.
Message number 3 of 6.
So, this is going to be the first instance of
What the hell is a Taffer anyway?
fall canceling. If I can select my item, there we go. This might kill me as well. Okay, it didn't.
What the hell is a Taffer anyway?
What the hell is a Taffer anyway?
Message number 1 of 6.
So basically all we're doing is we're going through this, this gigantic mansion and dying. Perfect. Sometimes you just don't stick to ladders.
Who treads there?
These are all of the things that I'm taking for granted in
Message number
this
3
version of the game that are not an issue in the other version of the game that I'm used to playing. So my apologies for that. You guys are seeing a subpar Thief run. But hey, that's what you guys signed up for. You guys paid for it, so it only makes sense that you pay for it.
What the hell is a Taffer
We're gonna
anyway?
try this again with some extra spooky tactics. We're gonna run by this. No, you know what? Okay, please don't
What
kill
the
me.
hell is a Taffer anyway?
Alright, he listened and he didn't kill me. So this is risky doing this jump. If you fall, you instantly die. There's a lot of that kind of platforming in this mission, and even casually, I guarantee if you play Thief 2 casually, you will have several moments where you are like, alright, when's the last time I saved? Oh yeah, 2 hours ago. And you'll be tempted to tear out all the hair from every follicle of your body. It just happens sometimes. I try my best not to have that happen while I'm speedrunning the game, though. It's one of those habits you have to get into of just constantly saving and constantly quick saving, especially when you're practicing the game.
If someone is there, then show thyself.
That is not the thing I wanted to equip. But let's do this. We'll become invisible and then hit this guy with a blunt object and take his key. So this begins an what used to be an incredibly infuriating part of the run. There's this NPC called the Golden Boy, and you'll see him as he spawns right here.
Harris guy has lost his mind.
Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna lock him in that room. If you don't do that, he will block you in the most irritating ways possible. Alright, we're about to fire another shot, guys. Get ready. This lady's name is Friend Vilnia, and we need her key. It's also very important that we get this guy's purse. He happens to be the most the most convenient NPC to steal from. And again, this mission has a loot code.
Don't let him
Okay.
escape justice.
These mechanists are extremely deadly. Their weapon has a super long range. This is the last thing we need. This is a very dangerous situation. And we paid for it. Oh well.
Just a boiler a hiss? Or perchance something
Having to
worse?
repeat part of this mission, or part of these missions is part of the speedrun anyway. If you're planning on speedrunning this game, you'll know that all too well. especially in these later missions, the enemies are so deadly that if pretty much anything goes wrong, you just die. And that's true even more so for the later difficulties. And I didn't pick up the gas arrow, so we're gonna have to kill this lady instead. So this is no longer a pacifist run. Actually, it never was a pacifist run because I killed that guy really early on. But
what the hell is a
that's
Taffer anyway?
Oh, and alright, she has her Shakespearean death animation. Much appreciated.
Message number 6.
And great, because that took longer, this guy is now running away. If you ever just get swarmed by enemies, the run is basically over, which is why having...
Help, someone!
Okay, now she is going to be an issue.
And receive thy
What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to lock this door. Okay, this is an issue.
Thou art smashed!
Time to get the I still can.
Alright, where is my... I have so many items!
A thief this way does sneak.
Wow, they're really angry. They really don't want me to activate this thing.
Message number 4 of 6.
So I have to go back for some extra loot as a result. I am really low on health. This is not good.
Escape justice.
Why do I have cheese? Okay, I have this guy's purse. Alright, now we have to escape. For a long time, there were efforts to get, a single segment run of this game. I have to now... Oh god, this is really, really bad.
Lurking about.
Yep, this is really, really bad. Unroot this weed with me. We'll just have to do a lap around the building. Drop some flares, maybe it will distract them. Well, luckily eating the cheese gave me 1 HP. Every piece of food in this game has a 25% chance of giving you 1 HP back. So, there's our 1 HP, 25% RNG. So yeah, if you say this game has RNG, it technically does, because if you are in a situation where you're running from 50 guards, and you absolutely need that 1 HP, then you'll have to rely on the food luck. And you'll also have to rely on the game deciding whether or not you can climb out of that or not. Now, I don't know whether this out-of-bounds trick is possible in the old engine, but we're gonna try it once. It is possible. Okay, you guys get to see another out-of-bounds. So here we are, out-of-bounds. Definitely not supposed to be here. Now this can be tricky, this can kill you instantly. Luckily the game was merciful. Okay, 1 HP again. Living that 1 HP life. Okay, so now we're gonna use a fire arrow to destroy these boards. This is one of the great things about this game, is the destructible environments. Like being able to sort of forge your own path based on the different destructible environments and the environmental hazards.
I shall find thee.
So we're gonna try and blind her. Literally one hit from
If I follow
anything
this
will kill us at
road
this
north,
point.
it should take me right to the Mechanist Tower.
And that's the objective complete. That's one of the most painful missions. To do casually, anyway. Okay, so precious cargo. We're gonna buy one of these, and we're gonna buy one of these. I remember that much. So...
If I were Cavador, where would I be?
I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain the plot of this mission.
Art thou there? You are caught now, intruder!
Losing that much health early sucks, but...
It's a long way up.
I'm sure I'll be able to manage. Essentially, you're trying to track down, figure out what this evil order of mechanists is trying to do. And they have an inventor who is in charge of all of their secret projects and stuff, and so your goal is to find him and kidnap him. It ends up being not even necessary at all. But
bespeak thyself.
That's how it goes sometimes. Okay, so now we're gonna blow open another door with explosives. Normally you'd have to climb to the top of a lighthouse to get a key, and that's really slow and it's really dangerous.
Lotus.
So this is a guy you're supposed to talk to, and he gives you information, but you can just knock him out or kill him. It actually has no effect whatsoever on the game. But we do have to go inside of that cold storage area to get this wheel peg that unlocks a secret elevator that can also randomly kill you if it decides to. Yeah, nobody really knows what a Taffer is. It's just, it was a word that appeared in the original game, and I don't know, my personal interpretation of it is it means like, oh look at this, falling into more invisible water.
Guess I'll sneak aboard and
Is there anything more disconcerting than that? It's like a mischievous person or like an idiot, kind of. But it's an extremely versatile word. You can say someone is taffing about.
Who goes there?
Or that someone is taffing with someone. Try integrating it into your daily speech.
What noise?
I'm sure you'll get a good reaction.
Calls.
Another area with no water. Also, this run is definitely going to go over estimate. My apologies. I told our host that the game took about an hour, and that's not strictly true. It takes about an hour if you're on like a really good pace, and that's not a wow, this is really weird having invisible water, but that's not a marathon safe estimate. So the real estimate is more like an hour and a half, but yeah, I'm sure it's safe enough because, you know, we had 3 runners that didn't show because we were so far ahead of schedule. So it's up to me to put us way back behind schedule again. Glad I could help, guys. This guy is going to be annoying.
Thou shalt
More
not
water that isn't there.
Stand and be crushed!
Smite thee when.
Have at him, friend!
We're able to squeeze through that little gap. That's an interesting method. Oh yeah, there are also people who think that Taffer was a way to get around censorship.
If someone is
they don't
there,
really swear in this game at all,
dragonfly
really,
flits about,
which is interesting. And the game was rated M, so why did they care? But so there's a guy chasing me. Hopefully he loses me. So this is an unmarked objective. You need to get this rust gas container. Yeah, he's gonna be issued. This is another area that can randomly kill you. All of these doors and stuff, these hatches, are absolutely lethal. Technically, any door can kill you in this game. You can just get... Wow. That was an interesting maneuver he did. You can just get jammed between a door and a wall, or between a door and a hinge, and all of those things will kill you. In reality, it almost never happens, except for...
tight fit.
Except for in the doors where it's extremely dangerous, like those hatches. Yeah, Jake Pliskin, ruining marathon since 2015. Okay, so Sitrep,
I'm back in the Lost City.
All of the items from my inventory are gone.
Guess I'll take the back door home.
I have nothing that I'm supposed to have. Okay, I've never seen this bug before in my life.
I fear this cannot wait till evening.
I'm guessing it's a save load bug. But this is gonna seriously hurt the run if that's gonna continue. So I really need that key. Behind this door is an objective. I'm gonna actually
This
stock
guy
up on
makes the
random
hammer
stuff that
sound
I may or may
insane.
not need in this room because of the fact that all my
Is someone
inventory is
there?
missing. So this is where we actually kidnap the dude that we're supposed to kidnap.
Thou art not welcome
Appropriately,
here,
this
Toad.
mission is called Kidnap. But the way we're gonna kidnap him is quite interesting. We're not gonna try and sneak him out. Instead, we are going to attract every single guard in this entire place, and then have them chase us all the way to the exit, where the mission will just end, despite the fact that we are literally surrounded and trapped by about 5 guards.
Any luck on thy hunting, friend?
Is thy head
changed a
ready
bit.
for my mace?
Basically, the way this is going to work is because strafe running gives you such an advantage, such a speed advantage, you're able to almost outrun guards.
Hold!
Ow, that hurts. You're almost able to outrun guards while carrying a body, but they can still catch up to you. It just so happens that the speed at which the guards follow you is almost identical to the speed at which you can run while carrying a body. And as a result, you're able to make it out without them ever attacking you. Okay, now this is a very finicky climb right here that I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to make. There we go.
A noise.
So we're gonna invisible ourselves. Invisible mate ourselves. And now we have Cavador. This is the guy we need to kidnap. Now we're gonna try and not get killed. For some reason, these doors are on a timer. Give me your body. I'm pretty sure the reason why it's on a timer is because he is supposed to leave and do a tour of this evacuation site, or this mining site. And so the doors are supposed to close and lock behind him, and they tried to get around it by just putting the doors on a timer. Okay, I'm gonna let this guy step into the mine for fun. Alright, it didn't kill him. That is surprising. Okay.
Root this weed with me, friend.
So now everyone is chasing us. Oh, I got stuck for a second. That's dangerous. Now, if I turned around, you would see that almost all of these guards are inches away, and they are absolutely at our heels. But because we're moving just barely faster than they're able to move, they're not able to attack. Now, if I ever slow down, for any reason, they might attack. And they might hit me for damage, but I should be safe.
Swing thy mace.
But yeah, this is pretty much the most ridiculous kidnapping ever. These guards are just following the kidnapper all the way to the escape route. Yes, give me your body. Also, once enemies are knocked out in this game, there's nothing you can do to wake them up. They will never wake up. So, interpret that as you will. So now we've exited, and look at all of these people following us. They're all chasing us, eager to kill us. Yeah. So now this is one of the more aggravating missions. This is casing the joint. So, if it weren't obvious enough that the developers of this game were extremely rushed for time when they were making this game, they used the exact same map twice in a row, one mission after the other, which is extremely lazy. Now, they were planning on having other missions somewhere along the line in between them to sort of break up the monotony, but they never got around to that. So you play the same level pretty much twice in a row. And to make this mission even more frustrating, it is a forced ghost, which what that means in the thief community,
Sergeant
a ghost
Porter,
is whenever you
it would
have to play the
appear that
entire
I
mission without
erred
alerting anyone.
in judgment.
So, if anything goes wrong in this mission, like an AI sees me or
Thou
something,
knowest
I have to
how
restart or
burdensome
load a save.
preparation of the mansion has been for me.
And that's extremely annoying. Especially when you're on world record pace and you're 1 second from the end of the mission and someone sees you or you make a noise that's too loud and the mission instantly fails. Also, that turret shot an explosive bomb at me, but that's not enough to alert anybody. For some reason, explosions going off inside of the mansion that are super loud and alert everyone in the vicinity don't count as being seen. You need to actually be the source of the noise or whatever that causes you to be seen. So that can lead to some interesting side effects, one of which is there's a ghost in that library that I was just in. And if you lure the ghost out of the library, he'll rampage through the mansion, killing everybody, and you won't fail the mission, even though you're not supposed to kill anybody, and you're not supposed to be seen. So there's some really good YouTube videos of that online if you want to investigate that. Now this is annoying. You can get stuck inside of this awning right here, and it prevents you from actually entering the building, but luckily I got it very fast. I did a run on my Twitch channel the other day where I was literally stuck on that awning for about 3 minutes.
Hello? Show yourself.
So if this mission looks familiar, it's the same one, just like I mentioned. It's exactly the same mission as before. And basically, there's these masks or something that are somehow related to a Mechanist plot, and you need to find one of them in order to sort of figure out what the Mechanists are up to. We're gonna do some James Bond tactics right here and climb up to the roof, flash bomb everybody. Totally stealthy, by the way. This is a stealth video game. So now we're just trying to hit the loot goal. The loot goal in this mission is the highest of any mission in the entire game.
Hold it right there!
So as a result, you usually end up missing 5 loot and having to replay the whole mission, or losing your world record pace run, because the loot goal is exceptionally tight. No, in fact, it is not supposed to be a slideshow, but this game is so antiquated that it just happened to be like that. And it's also my connection to Mixer, which is not good. That did not work. So what I'm trying to do is blow open this door with frog beasts. And frog beasts in this game are these little creatures that hatch from an egg, and they're explosive, and it's not working. So we might have to do a different strategy here. I'm gonna try one more time, and if it doesn't work, I'll just pick it. Okay, there we go, it worked that time. So,
the hell is a Taffer anyway?
Thanks again for the follows. I can't actually turn my Twitch alerts off, because if I alt-tab out of the game, the stream crash, or the game capture crashes. Although that being said, Windows 10 might do that for me, given the state of affairs of this run. So the last thing we need to do in this mission, besides filling out the loot goal, is to get one of the masks,
Heads are gonna roll now.
and to get the so-called rust gas container, or not the rust gas container, that was the previous mission.
Damn you.
The cultivator, which you were supposed to have learned about in the previous mission. Oh, this is not where I'm supposed to be. But you can just skip that. You don't actually have to have to do that. So what you're supposed to do is James Bond style, rope down from the ceiling. Anyone ever play Agent Under Fire? That one's like mission where you're not supposed to kill anybody? Yeah, it's basically like that mission. So now we're gonna do an interesting combination of... I have to be really careful of this bot. Okay, this is dangerous. But luckily, the bot missing his shot blew open the door that I was gonna have to blow open anyway. So that was an interesting twist of fate.
That must be what Karis is right.
Okay, so our objectives are complete. I'm just gonna double check that I got all the loot real quick.
See us about.
And then it'll be on to the final
What a
mission.
nice bonus.
Yeah, also Windows 10 is somewhat responsible for this game being runnable in the first place. For whatever reason, prior to the last Windows 10 update, this game did not run at all on Windows 10. You needed to use the new engine. Instead, we're using the old engine. Oh, no problem, Systematic. Thanks for tolerating me. So, this is the last mission, and this is about as close as you get to a boss battle in the Thief universe. So, instead of a traditional boss fight, I'm gonna actually I'll explain this later, but I'm gonna do a glitch right here.
Are you not?
So what I'm gonna try and do is something called the Infinite Speed Potion glitch. And, it should come back after a while. It just has to do with the game switching renderers for whatever reason. Well, I have my save, so let's just make a hard save right here. Oh, there we go. The game's back. So, yep, this game it just happens sometimes. So, as I was explaining before, yeah, it's something that just happens with this game. The game has certain timers that it starts, and this mission has a timer, an internal game timer, to flicker the lights inside of this place. And for whatever reason, when you save and reload, that timer gets messed up. And when you save, load, and then drink a potion immediately afterwards, the fact that the timer never ends means that the potion counting down your speed potion timer also never ends. So basically what we have is a speed potion with unlimited duration. And thankfully it actually will remain even through saves, loads, deaths, reloads, all that stuff. It'll still stay, which is very fortunate for the purposes of this run. And so what we're doing now is we are constructing a... Okay, this guy's gonna be an issue. We're constructing a device that is going to redirect all of the robots in the city, all of the humanoid robots at least, back into this cathedral, which happens to be airtight. Now, because the cathedral is airtight, the robots will release the poisonous gas that was supposed to destroy the city into the cathedral and save the city and wipe out the mechanists at the same time. Yeah, it's extremely implausible, but we're going with it. And the first half of this mission is just assembling this piece. Okay, should be able to get up here. So we're using the machinery inside, and we're following a recipe that the game we're supposed to get the recipe first, but in fact, we're going to build the item, stop the evil plot, and then read the recipe that tells us how to solve it, which is actually an objective. So, oh, don't want to forget that. That's a very important part of the run. Oops. Climb up here. Do some interesting platforming. And now we have to finish the part before we put it in the beacon. This is all extremely overcomplicated and not at all necessary for the plot.
Assuming the blueprints didn't leave anything out, this thing ought to do.
Like I said, this is as close as you get to a boss fight, and I just went super fast up that ladder for some reason. So that's a fountain that restores our HP. I'm just taking that to be safe. It's not at all necessary. Now I'm gonna try and do a trick that was found pretty late in this game's history. It involves leaning through a door, or leaning through a gate. And in order to do it, you have to sort of be running at the gate and pressing the lean at the same time, and I got it. But I just have to make sure I'm in the right... Oops. There we go. So I'm able to lift the gate up from the other side. You're not normally supposed to be able to do that. And now you have to go and trigger 7 of the 11... I think it's 7 out of 11 beacons. Again, using a frog beast egg to break our fall damage. And I'm going to use fire arrows to blow open this door. Now, this mission is essentially a lot of riding elevators. Because you have to ride elevators up into these towers. But it gives you a good time to save and check your splits and realize that you're not getting world record today. Next, GDQ Taffer percent. You know, there are a lot of different categories for this game. Most of them are secret and, like, highly underground. And, you have to be in certain circles to understand all the categories in this game. One of them is, Juan percent. Juan, Juan percent. And in order to do Juan percent, you need to eat every piece of food in the game.
Yeah, just keep prattling away.
And not harm any animals. It's a very elite category. Only the bravest thief runners even attempt 1%. There's also Norwegian percent, where you have to get every single piece of loot and every single item that you can pick up in the game and pack rat it in your inventory. And good luck verifying that. If anyone ever submits a Norwegian percent run, you would need one hell of a moderator, because they would need to know where every single item and every single piece of loot is in the entire game. Sadly, I know of at least 4 people who can fill in for that role. Some more riding elevators. Thankfully, this mission has a voice in it. You'll hear Karis's voice. Karis is the main antagonist of this game, and he will speak over all of the major events in the game, And the developers thought it was a great... Like this, exactly, proving my point. The developers thought it was an excellent idea to make his voice about 3 times as loud as any other effect in the game. Now I have to go through these saw blades. Normally we would climb through those windows, but that's not possible, so we have to do the quote-unquote intended strats. Why is it called Norwegian? That is a mystery for the ages. And if you're very serious about this game, you can try Supreme Ghost Platinum Iron Man, where you can't even make a noise loud enough for the guards to react in any way. So you can't have them say, what was that noise? Probably just rats. No. You make a single noise like that, your run is over. And, oh yeah, and there's also no saving, no restarting missions if you fail them. You have to leave every item exactly where you found it. You can't destroy any property. Basically, you can leave no trace of your presence whatsoever. This is actually a category that people have attempted. I won't say completed, because I'm pretty sure it's literally impossible, but people have attempted such categories. Except for low percent. We don't mention low percent. Okay, so we've activated the last tower, and we're getting close to the end of the game. So, this is the papyrus that we were supposed to read at the beginning of the mission. No, I messed it up, so I have to pick the lock. That's fine. But that's okay. In the old Dark engine, you have to actually hit the doors with the explosion. In the new Dark engine, it's enough for them to be just close enough. So that's why I made that mistake. But so we read the papyrus, and Garrett says, "This is just what I was looking for." That's the papyrus that tells us the secret plot to beat the final boss. And time is coming up in just a few moments. As soon as we exit the front door, that's the end of the game. Oh, and I got stuck for a second. And there we go. That's it. That's Thief 2. And time. Mission complete. None of this time matters. So yeah, thanks for tolerating me and that really bad frame rate, guys. I'm assuming that we have our next run set up already. We should, looks like we're just completely behind schedule now. So yay. I'm not gonna delay this any longer. This is the ending, you don't need to see it. So thanks for having me, guys. Have fun with the rest of the marathon.
Grasses marred his path, nay, not a wisp of vilest weed did spoil his view. Let thy furnace be fueled, let thy buildings